Had a review for Chapter 7 test. I got about 16 questions we're going to go over with you. Hopefully we'll get through all of them in class, but if not, you can look at them here. Number 1 says find the sum. If I'm finding the sum, I'm going to stack my like terms over each other. My 2n squared, I'll have my negative n squared underneath it. My negative 5n, I'll have my negative 3n underneath it. My negative 6, I'll have my positive 11 underneath it. When I combine these together, I see that 2 minus 1 is, well, that's 1n squared. Negative 5 and negative 3 make a negative 8n, and 11 minus 6 is 5. All right, let's go over here. Finding the difference. Whenever I have a subtraction sign there, all these signs become the opposite, and then I'm able to add them under here. So over here, I see that I'm going to have y squared minus 4y plus 9. But now I'm going to take these and turn them to the opposite sign. Negative times a positive, that's a negative 3y squared. A negative times a negative, that's a positive 6y. Negative times a negative is a positive 9. Well, 9 plus 9 is 18. 6 minus 4 is 2, so that's 2y. And then negative 3y plus 1y is negative 2y. Let's go to number 3. We're factoring the product. When I FOIL this, I got z times z, which is z squared. I got z times positive 3, which is 3z. I've got negative 5 times z, which is negative 5z, and then I have negative 5 times 3, that is negative 15. My like terms are 3z and negative 5z. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2z, so it becomes z to the second power minus 2z minus 15. Could you have done this like a multiplication problem? Yes, you could have. You could have took z minus 5. You could have put z plus 3 underneath it. You could have multiplied negative 5 times 3 to give you negative 15. You could have took 3 times z, and that would have gave you 3z. You put a 0 over here in the first spot. Then z times negative 5, that's negative 5z. And then z times z, that's z squared. And then you can see that negative 5 times 0 is negative 15. Sorry, negative 15 plus 0, negative 15. Negative 5 plus 3z, negative 5z plus 3z is going to be negative 2z. And then the z squared comes down. As you can see, we have the same exact answer as they do here. All right, number 4 is a division problem. So we're going to remember that this 2n goes in every one of these. So 2n to the third power divided by 2n. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then n to the third power divided by n to the second power is, or n to the first power is n to the second power. Then we're adding here. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then n to the second power divided by n to the first power is n to the first power. Then the negative sign comes down. 20 divided by n, or 20 divided by 2 is 10. N divided by n is 1, so we just don't put anything there. Our answer is n squared plus 4n minus 10. All right, let's move on with the next one. We've got d squared minus 5d plus 6. When I work this problem out, I realize I need to take 1 times 6, and that's 6. Now I have to find two numbers that when I multiply them together will give me a positive 6, but a negative 5. That's going to be negative 2 and negative 3. Right? Because negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6, and negative 2 plus negative 3 is negative 5. This is going to give me a d minus 2 and a d minus 3. All right? There we go. Number 6 is next. Number 6 says we got 4k to the second power p minus 28kp plus 48p. First, we're going to factor out 4p from everything. All right? And that's going to leave us k to the second power minus 7k plus 12. Now we have to factor these out to get us 12. We know that 1 times 12, that's 12. And now we're going to find factors of 12 that give me a negative 7. Right off the bat, I can think of negative 3 and negative 4. Because negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12, and negative 3 plus negative 4 is negative 7. So now I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be k minus 3 and k minus 4. And then in front, remember we had that 4p. So it should be 4p times k minus 3, k minus 4. 4p times k minus 4, k minus 3. Doesn't matter which order we put these in. All right, number 7 is next. First thing I want to do, well, when I see this negative in front, is get rid of that negative sign. So the first thing I'm going to do is, let's see if they show it here. I'm going to divide the negative sign away. That'll turn all these signs to the opposite. So instead of a negative 3t, it's a positive 3t, right? 3t to the second power, excuse me. Instead of a positive 11t, it'd be a negative 11t. Instead of a negative 6, it'd be a positive 6. And now I can go ahead and factor this out. When I do, I see 3 times 6, that's going to be 18. Well, my factors of 18 will be, that give me 11, are going to be 9 and 2. And I know that, let's see, 9 times 2 will give me 18, but I will need a negative 11, so I'm going to put both these to negative, right? Because a negative 9 times a negative 2 make a positive 18, and negative 9 minus 2 will give me a negative 11. Now I have to remember to divide all of these by the coefficient, which is 3. When I do this, negative 9 over 3 becomes negative 3 over 1. I can divide both these by 3. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. This stays the same. It cannot change. So now I can go ahead and find my first one. That's going to be, remember that numerator is going to be my constant. And then my denominator, that's going to be my coefficient to my variable. Then over here, I'm going to see the constant is negative 2. And my leading coefficient is 3, so that'll be 3t. And then remember, we have the negative sign we factored out. My answer should be negative t minus 3, 3t minus 2. And there it is, negative 3t minus 2, t minus 3. All right, let's go to number 8. This time we're going to be grouping these, right? And when we group these, I can see that, well, if I group the first one, there's nothing I can factor out, right? But let's see, if I group the second one, I can factor out 3 and z, right? So I can take 3z out of there, and then I can factor out, if I do that, that's going to give me z and minus 4. Then over here, if I divide by, that'd be 1 minus 4. And then I could take this one and bring it over here and divide by 2. And that will also give me z minus 4. So what they're doing is they're regrouping this, putting the order difference. So we're going to put the negative 12z here. We're putting the negative 8 over here. And then we're grouping these together. And then we're going to say I can factor out 3z from here. I can factor out 2 from here. Now that I have z minus 4 twice, I can say I have 3z to the second power plus 2 times z minus 4. 3z to the second power plus 2 times z minus 4. All right, we're going to number 9. Number 9 has m squared minus 49. Let's not forget, when they give us a negative sign and it's something that we can find a perfect square to, we're going to use that knowledge. This is going to become m squared minus 7 squared, and then we can break those up to be m plus 7 times m minus 7. I've been leaving class, the middle step that they had us do was something like this. M squared, then they said minus 7 squared, and then they realized to get a negative 7, or negative 49, they needed a positive and a negative, right? So this would be the correct answer. Next is number 10. Number 10 is saying that we've got y squared minus 22y plus 121. So I got to ask myself, what two numbers, when I multiply them together, will give me 121? Right off the bat, I think of 11 times 11. And then remember, this is 1 in front of here times 121. So that's why we're looking for factors of 121. because a negative times a negative is a positive, that'll give us a positive 121, but it'll also give me negative 11 plus negative 11, which is negative 22. All right, when I do this, I'm simply going to get a y minus 11, and then another y minus 11. That means I'm going to go ahead and have y minus 11, and then we can say that we are squaring it, right? All right, let's see how I did. Y minus 11 times y minus 11 gives us y minus 11 squared, just like I said. All right, let's move on. Next, we've got solve the equation. They're looking for us to solve this. Well, if I'm looking to solve this one right off the bat, I have to put it to 0, right? And what they did here is, and this is kind of a step they left out. Actually, they added a step over here. This was the actual question right here. So what they did was subtract 35n from both sides. Okay, and then that left this side at 0. So now we had 7n squared minus 35n equals 0. Next, they're looking to go ahead and solve this. Well, to solve this, we're going to factor out 7, right, and n. If I take that, I'm going to have 7n in front, because 7 goes into 7n squared. That's going to be n by itself. And then 7 goes into negative 35, negative 5 times, right? And then this is going to be equal to 0. Now you see we factor this out, and I can simply say that, well, I've got 7n, which is going to equal 0. Then I'm going to have n minus 5, which is going to equal 0. And then over here, I'm dividing by 7 to get n by itself. So n is going to equal 0. Then over here, I'm going to add 5 to each side to use inverse operations to isolate my n. That's going to be n equals 5. So I should have 0 and 5 for my answer here. And you can see they factored out the 7n and left n minus 5 in there. They put each thing to 0. Then they went ahead and divided 7 away to get n equals 0. And subtract or added 5 to both sides to get n equals 5. All right, let's go to number 12. This time, they've already put everything to 0. I'm going to factor out this 6m. And now I've got 6m times m plus 2. I'm going to put 6m to 0 and then m plus 2 to 0. And when I divide 6 away to both sides, and this is probably a step they're not going to show, we'll divide 6 from here and then divide 6 from here. That's going to leave us with m equals 0. And we're going to minus 2 from here and minus 2 from here. And now we see that that's how they got 0 divided by 6 is 0. And m is going to equal a negative 2. All right, number 13 is next. Looks like once again they gave us a little head start. This is the actual problem. They already showed us what we're going to do. We're going to subtract 49 from both sides. I wish they hadn't actually showed you that second step. I guess I should say I accidentally showed it to you. This should have been, I think, an animation which popped up afterwards. But now we know how we got 4x squared minus 49. When I do this, I'm going to say, well, I cannot factor out 4 or negative 49. I can remember that 4 is a square root of 2, has a square root of 2. 49 has a square root of 7. So that can go ahead and help us out there. We see that this is going to be 2x, right, squared. And then we're going to have negative 7, right? This is the same as when we did this over here. We said we'd have 2 squared and then x squared. And that'd be a minus 7 squared, right? And then again, because we got a negative, we know that one has to be negative, one has to be positive. So we take the 2x minus 7 here and the 2x plus 7 here. Now we've got a factor. We're going to put both of these to 0. We're going to add 7 to both sides, and then subtract 7 to both sides over here. And then we're going to have to divide by 2 afterwards. All right, and we're going to have 7 divided by 2, which will give us 7 over 2. Then negative 7 divided by 2, which will give us negative 7 over 2. All right, next we have number 14 again. This is the actual problem. Okay, and this is already step 1 where we minus 6n from both sides. And that's how we end up with this trinomial. Now we have to say, okay, what numbers will equal negative 9 or positive 9 and negative 6? Well, when I look for factors of this, I realize I have 1 times 9, that's going to give me 9. And I can say that I'm going to have negative 3 and negative 3. Because negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, negative 3 plus the negative 3 is a negative 6. This is going to give me n minus 3, and again, n minus 3. We're going to be doing the same thing to both, so I'm just going to do it once. N minus 3 equals 0. I'm pretty sure all that's explained here. Yep, n minus 3, n minus 3. That's going to be n minus 3 equals 0. We're going to add 3 to both sides, which will make this n equals 3. Okay? And for those that didn't get that, please remember, we'll have to add 3 to both sides to get n by itself. All right, let's go to number 15. This is a word problem. Ouchie. This one says we've got the football field is rectangular. Okay, that makes sense. It also says write a polynomial that represents the area of the football field. Well, the area is, let's see, length times width, right? So we're going to be taking 4x plus 40, and we're going to have to multiply it to 300 plus 2x's, right? So we're going to have 2x plus 300, represents the top, times 4x plus 40. Now it says find the area of the football field when the length of the field is 360. The length of the field is 360, right? So if the length of the field is 360, then it must be equal to 300 plus 2x's. All right, so 300 plus 2x's is going to be equal to 360. I'm going to subtract 300 from both sides, and that's going to give me, I'm just going to show it here in case you didn't catch it there. We minus 300 from both sides. And well, that's right. We do have to remember, put our line there. That's going to give me 360 minus 300. That's 60. Okay? And the 2s comes down. Then we're going to divide each side by 2. And that's going to give us x equals 30. Okay? Now that we know x is 30, we can put that back in to our problems here. All right? If the area is, so it says find the area, right? So the area, remember, is 300 plus 2x's times 4x plus 40. We now know that x is 30, so we're going to replace these x's with 30. 2 times 30 is 60, right? And 60 plus 300 is 360. 4 times 30 is 120. 120 plus 40, that's going to give us 160, right? So we're going to take 360 times 160. That's going to give us 4,320 feet squared. All right. Let's go on to our last problem. I'm going to try to find a safe place for this. Let's put this here for now. Actually, it'd probably fit here better. It says a dentist's office and parking lot are on the rectangular piece of land. Okay, this is the land. And this is the dentist's office, right here where the roof is. All right, the area in square meters of the land is represented by, so this is the area of the land. So all this part here equals x squared plus x minus 30. All right, Now they're saying write a binomial that represents the width of the land. Well, we're going to have to break this into two. Please remember we're taking 1 times negative 30, so we're looking for factors of negative 30. I'm going to say negative 30 has to be a negative and a positive number multiplied together. And to get a positive x, that means the bigger number has to be positive. I know that 5 times 6 is 30, and since they're one away from each other, I can say there's a positive 6 and a negative 5. Now, negative times a positive gives us the negative 30, and then 6 minus 5 gives us 1. So now we're going to say this has got to be x minus 5, and this would be over here x plus 6. Let's see if I was right. There we go, x plus 6 right there, and x minus 5 right there. All right, I think I did forget the parentheses. That's about it right here. All right, so now that we've done that, we found two binomials that represent the width of the land. So we've got length times width, right? And I think that we're going to be able to say this is the length, right? So we know this is the length, and that means this has to be the width. All right, that makes sense? So from the diagram, the length is x plus 6. That means the width has to be x minus 5. Now we found the width, all right? That's what they asked us for. Now it says find the perimeter of the land when the length of the dentist's office is 20 meters. So the length of the dentist's office is 20 meters, okay? So x is going to be 20, all right? And remember, perimeter is 2 times the length, right, times 2 times the width. And now we know that the length, x is 20, the length was x plus 6, and we're going to replace x with 20. So that's 20 plus 6. It was also x times x minus 5, so it's going to be 20 minus 5. Well, 20 plus 6 is going to be 26. And 26 times 2 is going to give us, I think, 52. And then 20 minus 5 is 15, and 15 times 2 is 30. Oh, sorry about that. It looks like we didn't finish it here. There we go. So this is going to give us 52 plus 30, and 52 plus 30 does equal 82. So we're talking 82, and we're talking meters here, right? Is that meters? Perimeter of the land, let's see. Yeah, in square meters. So the perimeter of the land would be 82 meters long. Okay, that was all of them. Looks like we're all ready for the test, and we did all that in under 23, about 23 minutes. So good luck for you on the test tomorrow, and well, I'll be crossing my fingers for you. Night.